All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight for a residency talk at the Baltimore Jewelry Center. I'm Shane Prada. I'm the director here at the BJC. We've been very fortunate to have Zhipeng Wang over the past month as an emerging resident artist. He joins us from Munich, where he's currently a student at the Academy of Fine Arts, Munich, in jewelry and hollowware, studying under the renowned artist Karen Pontoppidan. Zhipeng received his BFA in 2018 from the China Academy of Art in Jewellery and Metal. His work has been selected for many shows and won awards across Europe. He was a finalist for the BKD Prize in Munich. We first came to know Zhipeng's work when he submitted pieces to our 2022 Community Challenge exhibition, Signs, Signals, and Symbols. During his residency, he's continued a series of rings made from tea and coffee. It's been lovely to get to know him and to enjoy the smells of his materials while he works. I'll turn it over to Zhipeng now, and he'll share a PowerPoint about his work and background, as well as several pieces he's made. And then we'll travel to the hallway to take a closer look at his work.
So thanks everyone to participate in my artist talk tonight. Also, thanks Baltimore Jewelry Center for providing me with this valuable 1 month residency chance, which gave me the opportunity to explore the United States. So today the theme is material identity. Material is the vital elements in the language of jewelry, conveying information to both wearers and viewers. Chinese tea has been my main creative material for the past 3 years. But why I use tea to make jewelry? So first, I will briefly show my works that I made before I came to Munich. The contrast of different materials will help to better understand why I choose to use composite material instead of metal. So I studied at the China Academy of Art, where I was mainly engaged in the creation of contemporary art jewelry and objects based on craft. So this work was completed in 2018. This brooch is inspired by the Japanese animation Dragon Ball, which was my favorite animation when I was a child. And the material is titanium and silver. And this series was the turning point in my early creation, and it was also my bachelor graduation work. In 2018, Otto Künstler was invited to China Academy of Art to give a 1-week workshop with the theme of a copy and a paste. So this is not really copying someone else's work. It could be everything. So I copied the personality and paste on the different geometric shapes. These geometric shapes has implied different personalities of people. So this series is an exploration of a complex human nature. Silver was my main material, because that time for me, silver is the material I have always used. Secondly, because of the value of the material. So the left hand is a sharp heart, and the right hand is a bear. The Pizza series is the first series of work I have made after I came to Munich. Also saw many selling pizzas on the street of New York, which is called pretzel in English. Many people might not know that pizza is the specialty food of Bavarian, which is the state where Munich is located. In Munich, pizza is the daily breakfast for many people, and you can find pizza on any street in Munich. But in China, field of people eat this kind of hard bread. For me, pizza tastes like stone when I just came to Munich. So based on the fantasy of a German stereotype, I used Longjing tea, recreated pizza. Longjing tea is the specialty of Hangzhou, the city where I have lived in China before. And each pizza has a different expression, which hints at my mood when I swallow this pizza. And a tea-made pizza is really hard as stone. But after 3 years, I already get used to the taste of the pizza. So on the right hand is my daily breakfast, pizza with a cup of cappuccino. So very German. And the signet ring was my stepping stone in Europe. And I got lots of opportunities through this series. I enjoy finding inspiration in the subtle cultural differences between the East and the West. So when I worked in a jewelry store and a museum in Europe, I always can see this kind of big rings, which named the signet ring or seal ring. So I became curious about it. because in ancient China, we have rings that symbolize status, but there are no rings. Thickness rings known as a cylindrical stele can be traced back to the Mesopotamian people around 3500 BC. They used it as simple emblazoned with a family crest, and it was frequently employed to stamp or sign documents. Additionally, it served as a symbol of one's identity. So the signet ring became the best form for me to reflect my identity. I have never considered my cultural identity before I went abroad, because in China is not a country of immigrants. After I came to Munich, I received the Western culture and Western education, but how can I be different from my European classmates? So at the end, I choose the tea as main material to reflect my identity in this work. And Chinese tea has long history. It's not just a daily drink. Here I will quickly introduce the meaning of tea. In the 19th century, tea became the significant commodity that facilitated exchange and trade between China and the international community. Subsequently, tea continued to play a crucial role in shaping Chinese's economic relations, cultural influence, national identity, and even diplomatic relations. The influence of Chinese tea, along with its underlying philosophical and cultural elements, has made tea a symbol of Chinese cultural identity. So thus, tea is always symbolizing Oriental characteristics, and coffee is not original from Europe, but initially only European nobles could enjoy it. Later, gradually permeated wider circles. Chinese tea was originally only available to the emperor's family. The development of tea and coffee has many similarities. So I use tea and coffee instead of gold and gem to innovate the material used of the ancient signet ring. American scholar Lawrence Grossberg states in his book that identities are always relational and incomplete in process. The fusion of Chinese tea and German coffee gave the birth to the ring that multiple Chinese living in Germany who had to undergo the transformation of their cultural identity to adapt to the Western society. During the creative process, the act of carving seemed to continually shape my cultural identity, with each carving stroke reflecting my personal growth and process of cultural fusion. So, and the tea break is the project I started at the end of last year. I have made many brooches before, but rarely wear them. At the end of last year, I had an exhibition at the Gallery d'Or in the Netherlands. It is important to wear a brooch on official opening occasions to highlight my identity. So from there on, I used the app to record my journey. These rules are my experiences and the memories in Europe. Ultimately, I created a serious brooch that I will choose to wear at my next exhibition. So as I mentioned before, tea was once circulated as a currency, promoting economic and cultural exchange. And tea break were used to facilitate transportation. That is why I used the shape of break to make this brooch. So the silver texture, you can see on the brooch, is my journey. Today, as a Chinese juror living in Europe, I continue to engage in contemporary cultural exchange in my own way. And each tea break represents a segment of my life experiences during my European journey, while also laying the foundation for my own cross-cultural exploration. And the list brooch made by different tea. Since the early of this year, I have embarked on a collaboration with a gallery located in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, which is the tea house combined with a fine art gallery, actively promoting the dissemination of Chinese tea culture and intercultural art. As a part of this collaboration, the gallery collected the tea leaves that were consumed by guests and visitors throughout the month. These collected tea leaves were then shipped to me in Munich, where I utilized them as material for new work. And in order to foster cross-cultural community, the combination of this project will be showcased throughout a solo exhibition after I come back to Europe. But today you can see a few of pieces in person. So So you will find this piece there. And this picture traces my journey in New York City. And the rice bee is the latest work that I made before I came to the US. The piece is made mainly from recycled rice. The shape is inspired by ancient Chinese bee. Although I live in Europe, rice is still my staple food. In China, rice is closely related to Chinese culture and people's daily life. Like tea, rice also has its own historical and cultural background and connotation. And in the last century, 16th China, most people couldn't offer rice. And my father born in that period, but I born after 19. I had never felt until this summer. When I went to a Chinese supermarket in Munich that I often go to, a bag of rice that used to cost 20 euro had increased to 40 euros right now. The rise in price is not only caused by war, but also by natural disasters. And the soaring of price and food shortage in Europe made me rethink the meaning of the rice. So I recycled the leftover rice. After drying and polishing, the leftover rice has a jet-like texture. I deconstructed and reshaped the rice based on the shape and the concept of traditional Chinese jade bee, combined with a technique, gold and silver inlay, created another sense of jade. And the value of Chinese jade lies in its cultural significance and inherent material quality. But the rice bee takes a valueless leftover rice, processes and transforms it into rice bee that resemble jade but not jade. The visual contrast of this work raised a new question, where the unbridled exploitation and the destructions of nature eventually lead a future where rice, like jade, became scarce and precious. And this picture I took from British Museum. And so this is the original rice bee. Not rice bee, it's a real jade bee. And this jade bee were excavated in Liangzhu, China. Liangzhu culture also came from Hangzhou, where I lived before. And in addition to jewelry, I also make hollowware. This piece is a Chinese ball casted from bronze. Bronze was commonly used in ancient China to make ritual vessels. And in traditional Chinese sacrificial culture, rising a ball is often seen as a blessing for ghosts and God. The gold foil gives the rice an eternal meaning and symbolizes harvest and prosperity. I named this piece Prayer, which was made during the opening up of China's new policy of COVID. I'm to pray for normal life in the coming year, but now I prefer call it blessing for the future after I graduate from Academy of Fine Arts in Munich next year. So, and this is a sugar box. It's a folded with the 0.3 millimeter silver shade. And this is only one silver work that I made during my study in Munich. So yeah, so through this work, I think it's easy to understand why I stopped to use metal, and I choose more comprehensive material. So that is all. Thanks. And if you have questions, please ask me. And also, I have some works there. Yeah.
First of all, this is incredible. Like,
Thank
it's
you.
just so stunning, both visually and like emotionally, understanding your choices. How do you get the materials to stick?
Yeah, this is actually very this is actually very easy. Just for example, the tea. I grinded the tea into powder and I glue them together. So the difficult is a technique to polish is as perfect as you can do. So yeah, it's this process took me 2 years. Yeah.
Oh wow! So you combine it.
Yeah.
And then you carve it. From
yeah.
there.
So it's a carving by hand. It's the same technique as a wood carving, but it's much more difficult than wood because the tea is very soft. So you need to control it. Yeah.
Cool.
The prayer is gold foil covered with real rice.
Oh, wow.
They're so smooth.
So
Yeah,
you can
right.
take it, doesn't matter, because this is because I don't want to scratch my things.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good gallery light. Such a nice clean brooch back too.
I know. I was looking at the brooch there.
And what is this?
This is silver, yeah.
Silver.
It's so beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
I was.
Yeah.
Did you cast these? How did
No,
you...
I made it by hand.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
What's the silver inlaid into the brooches?
You mean the technique? This is if I say from my perspective, I call that traditional Chinese technique. But actually, you can find this technique in Japan, in Korea, also in Europe. So this technique is for example, 24 karat gold is very soft. So you cut a line on the metal and you can hammer the gold inside. And then after polishing, you don't need to glue. And after you setting inside and polishing, then you can find it's a gold line inside. Yeah.
Cool. So it's basically like pressure inlaid. Because you said there's no adhesive, there's no glue.
No glue.
Yeah.
Of course, no glue. Yeah.
Wow. And how do you polish it? I mean, it's so smooth.
By hand. Yeah, because
But like,
I
what
work.
do you like? What even?
Because I work as a professional goldsmith. Even I don't work with metal in my own work, but I work for other people.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he knows all the tricks.
Which one was New York?
I didn't made it. I haven't made it because I just came to here.
Okay. Are you gonna do a Baltimore map too?
I don't know. Maybe.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a look at what's in the hallway?
Notice that most of your identity rings, the tea is the main component
Yeah.
and the coffee is the addition.
Yeah.
So could you elaborate on maybe the significance of that?
You mean what? Sorry, what do you mean?
Oh, so with the tea being like your, it seems to be that, the tea being closer to your heart, being
Yeah.
closer to your heritage, that is the main component of most of these, whereas the coffee symbolizing your time in Germany,
Yeah.
that seems to be more of like an additional thing,
Yeah.
like false stones
Yeah.
almost in your work.
Yeah.
And I was kind of wondering if that like intuitive read was correct, that this is kind of like the coffee is an addition to. the
I
tea.
wouldn't say this is addition because under the globalization and all the many of culture they fuse together, so combine together. So for example, like I said the gold and silver inlay, I said that is Chinese traditional technique. But if a Japanese hear that, they will against that because with the thousands years, the developing, this culture and how to say immigrate to another country to exchange to another country, and they also develop in their own way. So that's changed. So like the coffee and tea, because I wouldn't say this. This I also discussed before. I would say this only represent myself. I would say to represent the Asian people living in Europe, because if you live there and West and East with totally different culture, and you need to adapt to the society. You have to learn, even you don't agree with that, but you have daily life. You need to to deal with that. So you have to how to say to reshape your cultural identity. Yeah.
Integrate the two. I like how you explore different shapes in the rings. So like these are like almost like a smooth signet, and then you have some that sort of have that kind of like hollowed out space.
And you can wear it. And also
It's
you
very
can
comfortable.
smell it. So
This
this
one has more coffee in it than the other one.
actually this is a more tea because this is different tea. Because before I came to here, I was in UK and I bought the British tea. Because British tea is also very famous because I briefly introduced the Chinese tea, but the importance of tea is because in the 18th century, 19th century, and China earned lots of money from tea and how to say the British, they import lots of Chinese tea, and because of their Qing government, they earn lots of money, but the British government, they want to earn money back, so they import the drug to us, and at the end, it's we lost to Hong Kong. So this is the history behind the tea, and now with what I said before, globalization, and the most of people already forgot because with the 100th year, and tea is no more symbolize China because everywhere you can see.
Wow. How do the two materials, like the coffee and the tea, when you're actually working with them, like how are they different from each other?
This is, I think, it's about the density.
Okay.
Yeah. So even different tea is a different feeling.
Okay.
Like recycled tea, because they already drink, so it's more soft, and it's gonna take me more time.
Got it.
Did you have to experiment with different like glues and adhesives to figure out what worked best for clients?
Yeah, sure. Because in this, before I start to work with tea, I already tried because I'm not from work with the tea in the beginning. I have tried many of the materials and to try the combination. But at that time, I don't have how to say initials in my mind. I don't know tea is the best material for me. I just try to use different material because I just came to Munich to start to learn the material. And then after I tried hundreds of sample, and then I start to think about the meaning of that, not just to play with the material. Otherwise, everywhere you can just play this word and the stone. This doesn't make sense.
I'm impressed that the adhesive, the glue doesn't have any smell. Because oftentimes when I've made composite, there's like a smell from
with the wood, like wood glue is gonna have a smell, and this is disgusting for me. Also, resin I never use because I don't like the smell.
Yeah,
so
really
I choose the transparent and no smelling.
That's good.
I think it's really interesting that the material you're using for these is so soft, and you're like keep revisiting the form of the signet ring, which is typically a very hard wearing piece of jewelry.
Yeah, and also like symbol of power and strength. That's a good point.
Especially in context with the ways in which the materials you're using are emotionally and culturally charged.
In your early Dragon Ball period, were you drawn to jewelry because you wanted to explore more of your favorite?
That time, because in China Academy of Art, we studied based on craft. So that time, I didn't really think about the concept. I had concept, but that for me right now, when I look back, that is a not deep concept. It's just feeling. So that's in China that's just about the childhood memory.
Is that why you no longer work in like figures?
No.
Any other questions or comments? Excited to see what you do next.
Totally.
Yeah, the rice projects, I'm gonna continue to make that. So my final project is tea and rice.
Cool.
So this is the daily drink and food for people. So I'm not interested with the food and what you drink, but through this daily life stuff, and you can trace the history and the combination behind it.
I really appreciate the line that you're drawing between the rice and the jade, and the kind of concept that you're having about like value in that, because that dystopian reality of rice one day being as valued as jade is something that's really scary and uncomfortable to think about, but something that as a world, we do need to
Yeah.
think about. So I appreciate you like drawing that connection.
Mary Ravel from Zoom said, hearing about your process and how you persevered until you got what you wanted is very inspiring. And she says, thank you. I agree. Bravo. Good job. Thanks for joining.